right. Today we are talking to Scott Hirsch. He is the CTO at TalentMarketPlace.ca. And Scott, can you just tell us a little bit about what you do there and just an elevator pitch on what the TalentMarketPlace.ca is and what you guys are doing?
For sure. Thanks so much for having me, David. So, what Talent Marketplace is, it's an online project professional recruitment platform. So, what that means is we help employers that are looking to hire typically IT talents, lots of developers and project managers and things like that, connect directly with pre screened candidates through our online platform. And my role as Chief Technology Officer there is really just in lead and in charge of developing that product and platform, managing all the data integrations and making sure our development team has what they need in order to do great work.
Great. Now, we are talking to a lot of different companies about just their challenges and finding technical people, software developers, network engineers, everything. And just demand for people is going way up, and the supply of people that are out there is not keeping up with that. And there's, companies are looking for other ideas on how they can bring in some people. So you guys are doing something a little different because right now, if you post an ad out there, it's a little bit of Wild West about who's going to come in. And you guys have found a way to kind of filter this and curate this a little bit better. So can you elaborate on that?
For sure. So you're absolutely right. I think that most of people, when they think of hiring for a job, they think of the traditional job posting route. So I'm going to throw up a job posting, maybe on Indeed, on LinkedIn, or whatever it might be, and wait for applicants to come to me. And that requires a lot of time and screening and qualification that you have to do in order to make that hire. And like you said, it's a little bit of the Wild West. So you get a whole bunch of people that maybe are overseas and not eligible to work in your country, or a whole bunch of other, not qualified people that might be coming in. So what we do a little bit differently here is we take that screening and filtering process out of the employer's hands through our platform. So instead of actually having a job posting up on our site, what we actually do is we go out and actively recruit, and we have a smaller, deliberately smaller, but pre-screened pool of candidates that are then able to be searched, filtered, and provided to on Talent Marketplace directly to those employers. Our best fit candidates are usually around, there's usually about 3 to 5 of them for any given role. That really narrows down the screening and processing time that employers need to put into their hiring process.
Now, tell me about the screening process. How do you go about doing that? How do you get, potential people out there to go through the screening? Because I know that there's a challenge out there where there's a person that could go to their LinkedIn profile, say open to work, and the next thing you know, they have 10 recruiters calling, and they're going to pay attention to the ones that are more real. But we're saying, hey, let's do one extra step here. That's got to be something you have to talk people into. So just walk me through how you go about that.
You're absolutely right. And convincing those people to make a profile on Talent Marketplace can be challenging at times, but we try to offer as much value that comes along with that as well. So to address your first question there around what the screening process is actually like. So there's basically 3 steps. So we ask candidates to make a profile on talentmarketplace.ca where they include a whole bunch of information about their previous work history, what they're interested in, a bit of a fit statement and stuff like that. And they upload their resume, of course. Then the second step is a bit of a resume review. So Talent Marketplace reviews the resume and makes sure that everything kind of is in line, checks it out with their LinkedIn profile, make sure everything's consistent there. Then the third step is a phone screening. So we give that person a call, and they do have to answer, and we have to chat with them a little bit, and we go through a little bit of their work history and ask them questions about the resume too, just to make sure that they are who they say they are and they are eligible to be able to work wherever the employer is looking for them to work. And what that really allows that candidate to have on Talent Marketplace after they've made that profile is passive applications or access to hundreds and hundreds of employers and job opportunities that they wouldn't necessarily know exist out there at all, because Talent Marketplace is then taking that profile and helping to share it with employers and job postings that they wouldn't necessarily even know about on their behalf. So they're getting a lot more reach when they make a profile on Talent Marketplace.
Now, is there a good success story that you can talk about with either one of your candidates or one of the companies that you're working with?
Yeah, absolutely. So I think one of the more recent ones that we've had, there's an airline company that we work with, and they're based out of Ontario, and they were looking for a DevOps engineer. So what the candidate that we were able to find was actually out east in around the Toronto area. We were able to find them through our traditional recruiting methods. So we do a lot of like Indeed and LinkedIn reach outs as well as our personal network and try to get people onto the platform. And the real success here was that this person found an increase in their job salary by about $20,000 from their previous experience. In addition to that, they are moving into a position that actually was a bit of a promotion for them too. And so far, knock on wood, it's been a couple of months. They've been really enjoying it so far. So we hope that that relationship continues to go really strong.
That's good. Now, just Canada or US and Canada? Someone's going to be asking that question. So let's go ahead and address that.
aspirationally moving into the US. So like we do have some talks in with some employers down there and some candidates too. Right now, most of our business, I'll say over 95% of our business is currently conducted within Canada, mostly focused on the West Coast too. But we do have, like I said, that airline company based out of Ontario, as well as some business in Calgary too. So we're looking to continue our expansion across Canada and hopefully move down into the States this year as well. That's one of our goals for 2022.
That's a good goal. So, and there's a lot of there's a lot of demand for alternative recruiting strategies, and companies that can deliver people to companies, differently. So if there's a company and they're saying, hey, we don't want to pay 20, 25, 30% of the person's first year salary, can you give me a better option? What's a company looking at if they're coming to you?
Absolutely. And because of our product and more SaaS-based approach, we try to take that subscription model to the recruitment industry here too. So like we do offer, if you want to pay honestly a little bit too much money, the traditional recruitment cycle and fees, and say like, yeah, you can pay us whatever, 20, 30% of an annual salary, because it de-risks it for you, frankly, right? It's kind of like, you only pay us if you actually successfully hire. Yes, it's a lot of money. And yes, we have to do a whole bunch of upfront work to make that happen for you. But we're willing to do that model if that's something that you prefer. But what we actually found to be successful with companies that are doing multiple hires per year is roll that pay-per-hire fee into more of a subscription and long-term platform model. So what that really means is, let's say you make one successful hire in a month or 2 months, and we charge you $20,000, nice round number. We say, okay, if you're looking to hire another 2, 3, 4 people per year, why don't we change that into a whatever? Don't quote me on these numbers, but like a $50,000 or $60,000 per year subscription. We'll make sure that you have access to the platform. We'll provide 2, 3, 4 qualified leads for the specific role every month, and you can have full access to the database, search filter, and hire as much as you want. That way, there's no additional fees for those hires, and you're saving money. And like honestly, it saves us a bit of work too, so that we don't have to have the question mark around whether or not we're going to get paid on that commission.
Now you're real close to the market here. So what are you seeing just in terms of trends, in terms of what companies are looking to hire, what the skills that people are looking to get, what they're looking for in companies? Because clearly we are past, let's put a job posting out there and having people apply and asking them, why do you want to work here? That those days are gone. That doesn't work anymore. So what are you seeing that's going to be developing in the next 2, 3 years here?
That is a wonderful question, and also a very big question, I'll say too. Let's start with a few pandemic trends, we'll say, okay? So one of the ones, obviously, is the remote work trend, I'll say. Candidates will outright refuse to work for a company that doesn't at least offer a hybrid working model, if not 100% remote. We've had that happen several times where a company says, like, you have to be in the office 100% of the time. We go out and we try to recruit or bring people onto the platform based on that. Nobody will sign up. The world has changed, frankly.
Yeah.
So we are well beyond that. So that's
it was already changing before the pandemic, but yeah.
Right. Absolutely. Another trend that we're seeing is just the demand and urgency for IT talent specifically, and more senior level IT talent. So anything from the 3 years plus kind of development experience is really, really big and important right now. And just the urgency behind that, because again, with the big shift to a lot more online services and purchasing online or whatever it might be, there's a lot more demand for that kind of skill set there too. From the employer side, we see a lot of willingness to hire elsewhere from where they're originally based. So usually they'll look a little bit more abroad, like within 2, 3 hours of their original city, and then they'll look across their country, and then they might look to adjacent countries and sometimes overseas as well, because they're finding that if I'm in the Bay Area and I'm going to pay somebody $200,000 a year with a certain skill set in the Bay Area, why can't I take that money and spend it on somebody that's in, Kansas or something like that, and pay them a little bit less perhaps, or overseas entirely, and get roughly the same amount of working quality out of that person too. So employers are seeing a bit of a shift in their mindset as well.
That's good. Yeah. And technology trends, things that you see that, perhaps jobs are going to be more hot in 2 years from now than right now?
Yeah, for sure. So again, I think it's just more focused on certain types of technologies that are coming up. So like we're seeing a lot of demand for the React front-end framework, particularly. That one's very popular right now. Artificial intelligence and data understanding is a couple of areas that employers are looking for a lot of really highly skilled talent there. And the really interesting piece about that too is we find that folks with math and statistics and even like scientific backgrounds like physics and stuff like that fit really well into those categories. So they wouldn't necessarily be coming from a computer science or development background and shifting into the data and AI space, but a lot of the times it's math, statistics, and like physics and high level science degrees that actually fit really well in those areas.
And I'm just going to add one thing onto that. I had a conversation not that long ago with a guy who's working with quantum computers, which is something that we're going to see coming out not in 22, but perhaps before 2030. And his comment was, "Everyone I work with has a master's or PhD in physics." So yeah, just to add
Yeah.
on what you're doing there, you got to figure out the physics before it becomes engineering. So that's a good thing. All right. So, who should reach out to Talent Marketplace? And if you got just to do a shout out to somebody, come visit us and come talk to us. Who is that? And what do you want to say to them?
For sure. Thanks for that. So there's two groups of people that I would love to come talk to Talent Marketplace, or me specifically, if you like. So one, any employer that's looking to hire, whether you're based across Canada or particularly down in the States, based off our current goal for 2022 too. Particularly if you're looking to hire developers, project managers, business analysts, or other data analysts or IT kind of project type work. We'd love to chat with you there. And similarly, on the other side, the second group of people here are any folks in those industries that are looking for work. We'd love to be able to be part of your job searching journey. We like to think we can provide a whole bunch of resources for you for free to help speed up that job search process, even if you don't end up finding work through Talent Marketplace. So we'd love to get to know both those groups of people a little bit better.
Okay, great. And just for companies out there and people watching this, those IT managers that are doing hiring that are saying, wow, it's just getting tougher to find people. There are a lot of alternative ways of going out and finding candidates. This is one of them. And just relying on your job posting or your internal recruiter, it's tougher to do these days. And companies need to look at alternative strategies to bring in people. So I like talking about Talent Marketplace and places like this. It's a good alternative and provides a lot of solutions to a lot of places. So good luck with everything you're doing at Talent Marketplace, and you know, people out there looking for struggling to hire people, go give them a look. All right. Well, Scott, thanks for your time today. I appreciate it. We'll be in touch.
Thanks so much, David. It was fun.
All right. Bye bye.